Jessica Miller sat on her living room couch with her knees tucked under a fuzzy gray blanket, the soft hum of the ceiling fan above filling the silence of her apartment. Her phone was face down on the coffee table, notifications off, intentionally silent. It had been 3 days since she decided to stop texting Mark. 3 days since she had said enough was enough. For 5 years, Mark had been in and out of her life like a revolving door. He'd show up when he needed her, when life hit him hard, when his world crumbled, yet he vanished the moment things got better. Jessica was always his emotional life raft. He'd cry to her, vent to her, sleep with her, but never commit to her. He said he wasn't ready, yet he was always ready enough to take her time, her love, and her care. Jessica knew what they had wasn't love, not in the way she deserved. And yet, every time she tried to walk away, he'd pull her back in with sweet words and broken promises that seemed so real in the moment. But now she was done. It wasn't just Mark. It was the realization that she had allowed too many people to linger in her life far beyond their expiration date. Friends who only called when they needed something. Coworkers who pretended to care, but only until the gossip dried up. Even her own cousin Brittany, who never showed up for her except to ask for money or favors. Jessica wasn't bitter, just tired. Tired of always being the one who gave. The one who remembered birthdays, supported dreams, and forgave too easily. She had built her identity around being the good one. But in doing so, she had lost herself. The first step, she realized, was acknowledging that emotional detachment wasn't about becoming cold or heartless. It was about protecting her peace, creating boundaries, letting go of the belief that people would change if she just loved them hard enough. Because sometimes they don't change. Sometimes they only take. And they leave you with an empty heart. She started with Mark. She didn't send a dramatic text or beg for closure. Instead, she simply didn't respond. When he messaged late at night, she let the notifications sit unread. When he posted stories trying to get her attention, she ignored them. And when he called twice in one day, she pressed decline twice. It hurt. Of course it did. Emotional detachment isn't instant, and Jessica had to remind herself every morning that she was choosing peace over chaos. That each time she didn't reply, she was telling her heart, "You deserve more." But emotional detachment wasn't just about ignoring texts. It was about changing the internal script that told her she was only valuable when she was useful to others. It was about reconnecting with herself. So she started journaling again. Every night before bed, she wrote 3 things she liked about herself that had nothing to do with anyone else. I am thoughtful. I am creative. I am loyal. Then she began to take solo walks, no headphones, no distractions. Just her, the sky, and the wind. She rediscovered how peaceful it felt to exist without constantly waiting on a message that never came or trying to fix someone else's damage. The hardest person to detach from was Brittany. Not because Brittany was kind or deserving, but because they had grown up like sisters. Jessica had always felt responsible for her cousin, even when Brittany treated her like an emotional dumpster. But one evening, after Brittany left her on read following a sincere message asking to talk, Jessica closed that door too. Not angrily, just with a quiet kind of resolve. She no longer had the energy to chase people who wouldn't even walk toward her. As time passed, Jessica found space for people who mirrored her energy. She met Claire through a book club, someone who remembered her birthday without a Facebook reminder. She grew closer to Marcus, a coworker who checked in on her during her tough days without needing anything in return. These relationships felt lighter, safer, because they weren't transactional. And somewhere between letting go of the ones who drained her and embracing those who saw her worth, Jessica began to rebuild. She stopped explaining her decisions to people who never valued her anyway. She no longer felt guilty for saying no, for canceling plans, for putting herself first. She learned that detaching from people who don't deserve you isn't about them. It's about you finally choosing you. There were still days when her heart ached. Detachment isn't a straight line. It comes in waves. Sometimes Jessica missed the version of Mark that she wished existed. Sometimes she thought about calling Brittany, just to hear her voice. But every time she felt that pull, she reminded herself of the many nights she cried waiting for someone who never showed up. The times she forgave people who didn't even say sorry. And the truth that healing meant choosing peace over old patterns. One afternoon, months later, she ran into Mark at a grocery store. He smiled like nothing had changed, like they could pick up where they left off. "Hey Jess," he said. "You've been MIA. Everything okay?" Jessica looked at him, and for the first time, she didn't feel that familiar flutter in her chest. No longing. No desire to fix or to feel needed. Just clarity. "Everything's better than okay," she replied with a smile. "I've been focusing on people who show up for me." And then she walked away. Because detachment, when done with grace, isn't cruel, it's powerful. It's the choice to protect your peace, guard your heart, and love yourself more than you loved those who didn't deserve you. And for Jessica Miller, that choice changed everything. She became someone who didn't just survive heartbreak, but someone who thrived after it. Who learned that detachment wasn't giving up, it was letting go. So she could finally, fully be free.